Good morning. I'm Saphronia Young, and I'm here to talk to you about a particular Hanukkah memory that I have. So this isn't a whole lot about historical Hanukkah and how it came about. Miriam asked me to talk about one of my own favorite Hanukkahs. So I used to observe Judaism fairly observantly for about 10 years. And Hanukkah was celebrated in my Jewish community in Kansas City, Missouri, as a beautiful, song-filled, light-filled celebration. But really, there's only one official Hanukkah song. So I recommend to you the one that Adam Sandler wrote for Saturday Night Live. That was about 11 years ago, and that's the one I like best. So anyway, on this particular Hanukkah, it fell on the Sabbath. And so this is my favorite Hanukkah that I recall. Our small group of young 20-somethings sort of revolved around the young rabbi, the second rabbi at our congregation, Beth Shalom, in Kansas City. And the congregation had about 1,300 families. So the young 20-something group could be a pretty healthy crowd. Or healthy, I won't say we were healthy. Say we could be a good-sized crowd. And so on this particular Hanukkah, it fell on Shabbat, which is the Sabbath. And it was a practice in each and every Jewish home that I knew, and definitely in mine, that we would welcome guests into our home to also welcome the Sabbath bride. And so no matter how we lived the rest of the week, on Friday, we began preparations for the Sabbath. So we would leave work a little bit early, buy 2 loaves of challah, the special braided bread, one for Friday night, and then we would finish the other one on Saturday night when the Sabbath was over. So Friday night, we would buy a little wine, a little bread, we would bring out the best tablecloth, the china, really set a beautiful table. We would have 2 candles, say a blessing over the candles, say a blessing over the cup of wine, wash our hands ritually with a cup. Mine was beautiful. It was a silver cup called a shep. And then once the candles were lit, we didn't use electricity again or work until the Sabbath was over. And so on this particular Hanukkah, we went to David Bachman, the second rabbi's house. He was a young person like we were. And we would sit around and we would first feast on a sumptuous meal because he was an excellent cook. And then after the meal, we would talk about the story of Hanukkah. And some of you know it, some of you may be more familiar than others, but it's the celebration of when Judah and the Maccabees, Judah Maccabee and his kin, defeated the Seleucid Empire, who had tried to Hellenize the Jews. So the real story of the Sabbath is about how they refused to be assimilated, refused to abandon their faith, and that's sort of the story of Hanukkah. It's really a minor holiday, and I think the only reason that it's made a big deal of in the United States is because it's Christmas adjacent. But I grew up with Christmas, so I really embraced Hanukkah and learned to love it. But anyway, each night we would light the menorah. The middle candle is white, and that's the one that you use to light the other candles. And you celebrate the fact that this miracle happened, that the war was won. They go back into the temple to purify it, but there's only enough oil in the lamp, this sacred lamp that was supposed to burn always, for one night. But miraculously, it lasted 8 nights. And meanwhile, they were able to procure more of the sacred oil. And so you would add a candle each night, and we would add the candles from right to left and then light them from left to right until each night that you had gathered, you had finished the story, and we would play a gambling game with dreidel. And some of you know the dreidel song. It's a really terrible song, but it's for kids. And we would play with these little chocolate-filled gold foil coins, and somehow or other I ran out. I don't know why, but when we ran out, Rabbi David Bachman insisted that we had to use peanut M&Ms as the substitute, a ritually acceptable substitute. So, like I say, it's really not a very serious religious holiday. It's really about survival of a people who were constantly oppressed and trying to overcome the Romans and the Seleucids and all the others for thousands of years. It might be a good story for us to remember right now. So, thank you.